For me, obviously, the highlight and I'll say what people come to the farm for, this is our Rubicon. So the Rubicon was, the concept comes from Hannes, the current owner's father. Him and the cellar master Giorgio Della Tia, they made the first blend in '78. The first vintage that was commercially available was the 1980. And at that stage, you know, it was something new for the industry. This red blend of Cabernet, Merlot, and Cabernet Franc, and it really changed the landscape in South African fine wine. It's a cab-based blend, as I said earlier, so it's going to be anything from 55–65% of Cabernet. It really does give you the structure, the real length, the tannin profile. Then the Merlot. The Merlot on the farm is actually quite powerful. Gives you a lot of that dark fruit, real nice mid-palate, real sweetness comes through on the finish. Cabernet Franc, same role as it played on the red, really just gives you a nice, really aromatic lift, a slight herbal note that plays a role, and the Petit Verdot just really combines everything. This wine would have a fair amount of new French oak, about 60%. We really find that the French oak and that new percentage really just harnesses a lot of that power and just really gives you the lovely length. It's all about finding the right cooper, finding the right toasting, the right grain of oak. But I think once you hit that sweet spot, it really makes a massive contribution to the wine. Maturation is about 18 months. The one thing that is unique though about the Rubicon compared to I think a lot of other products on the market is that this wine is actually matured as a blend as well. So we've got 4 very different, unique terroirs on the farm in terms of soil and exposition, and this always tries to be an expression of that as an entirety. When we actually ferment and make all those different blocks though, everything gets fermented separately. They go to barrel initially as a component, but at about 6 months of time in barrel, we'll actually go through a full tasting of every barrel lot. We will make the final selection for what the wine would look like. And at that stage, we'll actually take each component out of barrel, we'll actually make up the final blend, and the blend will then go back to barrel for a further 12 months. So I think just in terms of integration, in terms of how those components marry together, and how the wood integrates into the product, I just think it delivers something that it's at a different level. And I think that makes it unique as well. As I said, after bottling, it's then matured for another further year before it gets actually released on the market. So looking at the Rubicon, you know, it opens up with this beautiful dark fruit cassis character. I love the slight herbal note, almost a bit of a fynbos kind of character that starts coming in. That's a little bit of the contribution from the Cab Franc. Gives it this beautiful lift. There's this lovely cedar-like spice that comes through from the maturation. Still quite primary, as I said. It's very fruit driven, but it's just starting to develop a little of that pencil shaving character that I think that's really, really attractive on the wine. On entry on palate, what makes 2018 unique, I think, is we were basically seeing the real influence of the drought at that stage. So 2018 was a vintage with very small berries, very high concentration in terms of anthocyanin, the color pigment, and tannin. So the wines are quite rich and actually quite plush. Now, Meerlust Rubicon is not necessarily a wine that's normally known for how big and powerful it is. It's normally more the restraint and elegance. So I think we're walking a fine line here where it's probably going to be one of your more voluminous, bigger Rubicon vintages. But I think the way that the fermentations were managed in terms of the extraction, it still gives you a lot of that elegance and length. On palate, you really have a lot of that fruit still coming through on the palate. Again, elegance and balance. You know, it walks a really nice fine line with a beautiful acidity that still comes through. Gives it really nice length. Means the wine's going to age incredibly well. And that really nice acid line is also the thing that makes it pair really well with food. And that's really going to pick up the sort of that acid line when you find in tomato-based dishes. And it's going to complement each other really well.